Hello everybody, hope you're doing okay. Now, you might have seen recently I did an FTP test on Zwift, or I did the ramp test. This time I'm going to do the 20-minute test. And this is going to be a really painful one, I think. This is like when you basically got to go flat out for 20 minutes, then you take 95% of your average watts to give you your estimated FTP, because the FTP is meant to be what you can roughly hold for an hour. But obviously, going for an hour is like the absolute pain of death. You might do a 25-mile time trial outside, but you don't want to sort of kill yourself from these tests. And as an injured runner looking to sort of get a bit of bike fitness, you don't want to sort of be put off for life for riding on these things, do you? Anyway, I looked up and I last did this test in 2016 on a watt bike at the gym, and I averaged 248 watts, so I got an FTP of 236. So I'm hoping I'll be somewhere around there. My fitness, obviously, and age is now like 8 years on, so will I be any better? Let's get into this and have a look then. First of all, let's get ourselves set up on Zwift. So I've gone to the workout section here, and I'm going to do the FTP Standard Test, as you can see, that I last did in 2016. Amazing how long Zwift has been going now, isn't it? You feel like it's sort of like new, but it's like 8 years since I was doing this stuff at the gym and with a watt bike, and it lasts 45 minutes of pain. So let's have a look at it. So my FTP from last time was 227 watts, so the whole sort of wattages are sort of based on that. You do a warm up and a couple of like feelers there, just a few sort of like light sprints and one sprint above your FTP. Then you do a sort of an aggressive warm up, 3 minutes at 250 watts and then 2 minutes at 272 watts. Then you get a little rest of 6 minutes. We just spin along, and then you basically get 20 minutes to ride as hard as you can. I think what I'll do is I'll sort of set off slightly sort of within myself in the 20 minutes and see if I can sort of like build into this a bit. Because usually in sort of 5K road races, I always go far too quick. And I feel in this, I want to sort of like be accelerating through to the end and be able to hold good form. Apart from else, it might make it feel slightly less tolerable. But I think my aim is to be averaging around about 240 watts. So I think if I start off about 220, that my current one is, do that for a minute or two, then see if I can just get into this quite quickly. Right then, let's get on the bike and get going. Start ride. Let's pick somewhere that I haven't actually done before. Should we go the Richmond Fan Flats? Let's do that one, shall we? So I get my fans going over here. Okay, going to record myself side on. Got the drinks at the go, the old Lucasade Sport here. I'm also going to record this on my Garmin watches here. I've got a 955 and a 965. It's actually telling me to rest today, which is clearly the opposite of what we're going to do, isn't it? So that's not great. Okay, let's get this going. Let's start the watches and we're off. So they should start off fairly easy. We're only doing 70 watts for the first few minutes. I've got this in erg mode. I want to put it in a gear which is like a nice good smooth chain line. So I put it in like the third biggest one. I think that's a nice chain line. And then we're in the Richmond World, which a few people here. There's a runner there. I think I'll try and do this in the TT position because that's kind of where I feel I can get the most power out. It's kind of obviously the TT bike is meant to be in that sort of environment, and I'm supposed to put our cadence at 90 to 100. So I'm a bit low there, aren't I? Just below 80. So you can see the schedule maps out. 5-minute warm up, some little 20-second sprints, and then you've got this sort of 3-minute and 2-minute interval. So I want to do this properly, even though I kind of feel that the 3 minutes and 2 minutes will take some edge off me. I kind of feel more like with cycling, it's all about getting the legs ready rather than the heart. I feel the legs is still the biggest limiter, really. I think as a runner, also the leg strength plays a huge part. I feel like a bit stronger on the bike, but need to work on it for sure. Okay, there's the green arch for the 20-second sprint at 180. Let's see how we do with that then. Not much more watts than I'm currently doing, to be fair. There we go. How much rest do we get? Oh, we now need to do... Oh, I thought we were getting rest here, but we're not, are we? There we go, 225. Actually going a bit higher. Oh, I certainly can feel that, for sure. And then we've got to do 270. Maybe I'll get towards this at the end of the 20 minutes, but... Heart rate is really rising quickly now. Okay. Well, that was harder than I thought. I'm feeling a bit tired. Anyway, it's all good. 3 minutes cruising now before we go into the extended warm-up for 3 minutes at 250. That seems quite daunting. I'm a bit nervous for this now, actually. I think also the next 2 weeks as well, because 2 minutes at 270 after 3 minutes at 250, that's a pretty aggressive warm-up, isn't it? Well, we do get 6 minutes spin before the test starts, I see. So, interesting to see how hard this 250 feels. To see how much I can sort of push that initial 20 minutes of it. It'll give me a good indication, wouldn't it? The mistake I made last time was to drop the cadence when it sort of changed into the higher wattage. So let's see if I can keep this up as I shift into the 3 minute effort here, but I think I'll get banned on the tri bars for this one, I think. See how this feels. Not much talking now, I think, for the next few minutes. Let's try with these hard efforts on Zwift. I do feel that time passes rather slowly. Obviously I've turned off any entertainment today, talking to the camera and stuff. How's my cadence doing? About 80. Not too bad. Oh, coming into the next section any minute. Here we go. 2 minutes of pain now. 270, I'm going to push it to. Certainly feeling this now. How's the cadence doing? A bit low. Not nearly there. Okay, done. Right, 144 heart rate. What did that tell me? 270 was a grind, but maybe we can get there towards the end. Interested to see that was a 5 minute recent PB actually. Would have averaged about sort of 260 almost, wouldn't it? Maybe 258, something like that. So what did this say? I think I was trying to set off about 220, just ease into it, see if I can gradually get that wattage up without sort of like fighting the lactate too early and making it all from the leg strength. Hard to believe in an outdoor time trial. When I was focusing on these last time in 2017, I got, I think it's 326 I saw averaged. I think the power meter on this bike, just on the power meter, is slightly generous by about 10 watts. Even so, that was well over a 300. Sometimes outdoors though, it just feels easier, doesn't it? I mean, you've got the wind in your face, you've got to concentrate a bit for steering and stuff. And yeah, just sort of, time seems to go differently. I have been doing some 20-minute intervals recently actually when I averaged 220. So yeah, maybe 220 is a bit too sort of pessimistic to start off with. But I don't want to completely blow. So I think you get an average wattage display. So I'll be keen to look at that and see how it's looking. Put my phone in the slot here. So actually I've got a Lifeline trainer table. I did a review video on that one when I got it some years ago. It's like the cheap version of the Wahoo one, although I do have the actual proper Wahoo fan as opposed to a cheap limitation of that, so swings and roundabouts. Anyway, I feel like I could spin along here nicely for the next half an hour or 28 minutes, but sadly not to be. Anyway, at least the heart rate's come down, isn't it? So in terms of a warm-up, I feel I should be loose now. I've had a bit of Achilles problem. That's why I've not been running much. So I can sort of feel it very slightly, but as you're not sort of going out, big out the saddle efforts using your Achilles in like a time trial mode, I feel okay. And I think if anything, when I'm pushing hard, sitting down, it takes the strain off it a bit. So I think I'll do that. And also, back in my mind thinking, well, I've got a time trial bike primarily to ride outdoor time trials. Not that I've done it for years, but I think sitting up for this thing is kind of alien to what I'm trying to achieve to a certain extent. So, and also the fact I'm not actually watching anything. So, I think I can happily, inverted commas, sit down. But the problem with that is this time seems to go slowly. So I can't even really read the screen properly. Maybe also sort of says that if you're outdoors, then I have to watch that position. I've got the side on camera here. Let's have a look at it later, see how flat I am. It looks a bit arched back actually, but I'm a bit limited in this P3 in what you can do with the adjustment now, I think. And I notice these days the time trials have these sort of much more sort of steeper bends than they ever used to. I think back in the day when I was doing it, there was a sort of tendency to almost have flat tri bars. Now it seems to be quite angled, sort of 30 degrees, maybe a bit higher. I did try that, but it did feel like I was sort of banging my knees on this bike. I felt like my knees were too close to the handlebars for that sort of position. So what I've got now is gives me a bit of freedom there. Right, we've got a minute to go. It's all hands on deck. Let's see what we can do. I don't imagine there'll be much talking on this, but we'll see. If I get to halfway and I'm sort of 230, 235, then I'll see what I can do on the pushing it front. I think it's an element that once you get into a wattage, it's kind of easy to maintain it. So maybe I don't want to go off too slowly at the start, but I think just for my own headspace, I don't want to kill this too early. I'm not quite sure how it's going. This is a free ride, so obviously I'm going to have to self-select my wattage now rather than the trainer setting it for me when you're in erg mode. So that is a bit different as well, should we say. Right, less than 10 seconds to go. We've got 20 minutes of absolute torture. Let's see how we go then. See you on the other side. You can see straight away I get an average wattage, so I don't want it to get too high too early, do I? I also want to keep this cadence fairly good. A bit high at the moment, I'd say. We'll probably start off at 220 out the window, and maybe I'll fill this later. I'm sure if I change gear here, that makes it easier. Maybe it does. What do you focus on for 20 minutes? Looking at your top tube. Do you need to change gear as well? Feel the ground feel. Attack Neo. The bumpy pedals stand. So we can get this above 250 anyway. Okay, 4 minutes done. I feel like I want to stop now. I'm pleased with my average. Sort of starting to grind a bit here. Low 70s. Need to watch that. I'm going to run out of gas. Thank God for that. Cobbles are finished, so we can go up again. Six and a half minutes gone. This is so tough. So in the end, best laid plans. Just went for a even effort, I think. See if I can keep this up for. Minutes to go. Nearly halfway. Heart rate's well up there now, 150. Jesus. Still a long way to go as well. I think danger of dropping below 250 if I'm not careful. Let's just do a little bit
sitting up, see if I can recover a bit of momentum. Nearly halfway. Yeah, I've dropped to 250 average, so now I'm going to really pump this out. And with the cobbles again. Well, let's say 1 minute left. Fix it up. No, it's not really helping. Eight minutes to go. Oh, over halfway. Okay, 5 minutes to go. See what we got. 4 minutes. Out. There you go. Count down seconds of it. See if we can gain the last minute at least. I think 2 minutes to that. See you minutes. Let's reach this last minute. Put the gear up in the minute and grind it out. There you go. Right, 1 more minute. So 1 more gear. Now, last push. Oh man. 237. Oh, that's 10 Wow. Oh man. Oh. Said I would do that again, Larry. Wow. Right, I made that. Well, I haven't quite finished yet, but I only got the cool down with no target to do. Oh, it's 110. Wow. Just came off the average a bit, didn't I? But I almost got it back to 250 at the end. It was a strong last minute. Pure leg strength, I think, that one. If you got how hard kind of racing is, because this is no motivation other than talking to myself, getting messages on the screen. But I thought, once I started at 250, I could maybe manage it. Drifted a bit, but I came down and back up again, didn't I? So yeah, all in all, good evening's work. Heart rate's still 130. It's pretty long. It shows you how I was trying there. And I guess those are in my wheelhouse because I've done a lot of 10-mile time trials outdoors in my time. As I said, you get like little downhills, little roundabouts, and just swerve past potholes, or yeah, just sort of maintaining your course. Time seems to go quicker. And my fastest 10 is 21:10. That was way back in 97 on my old time trial bike, which I still got, but it doesn't really ever come out anymore. Much to Sue's annoyance. I don't think it's going to be worth anything either, like a steel one. So, and especially my size. But I did have my PBs on that one. So, yeah, sort of younger legs beats newer tech, although this bike now is 2014 and probably was around for a couple of years before that. So, yeah. All right, see if we can get this heart rate a bit down a bit more. Maybe down to 110 ideally in the next 2 minutes. And we're going to cool off the watts as well, aren't we? Going down to 90 now, so that should help get that heart rate down. It's still 120. And 120 on the bike, I always think is a sort of quite a reasonable number for me. It's finally crept down 119 briefly, and then crept up again. Slightly feel my knee in this at the moment. I think I'll just have a little session on the drops to stretch things out. Lean on the tri-bars to take a bit of pressure off. I'm still not used to cycling. I've got some shorts on rather than bib shorts. Being so tall, I never really sort of got on with bib shorts. I felt the bib bit was actually long enough. And it was kind of annoying if you're doing, say, duathlons. Obviously, you wanted to be able to run in your shorts, so I never really bothered. Right, this heart rate is static, I think. I basically need to stop and watch it come down to 110. It's not going to drop 10 in the next minute, is it? Even though I'm pedaling along like this. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming along. Well, I'm going to look at the data in more detail once I've got off the bike. But yeah, I think the bad thing about this is that all my efforts now will be harder. And if I do this again, I'll know what to expect. And I think there's an element of, yeah, the first time you do it, it's an element of a bit of the unknown tactics. So if I do the ramp test again, I know I need to break 300, or probably now get up to 340, having got like a 10 watt increase, didn't I? So, yeah. All right, so, well, the heart rate's dropped a bit, but not much, is it? What have we got until next time? Yeah, I think I've got scheduled the rest day tomorrow. Matt's still coaching me, even though I'm not really running. I just do the odd run when I feel like it. Sometimes it's a bit of a mistake. Perhaps I'm doing too much walking as well, because although it doesn't really affect me as much, it obviously does impinge on the recovery. Right, so we finally made it to the arch, so I'll give myself a little wave. And there we go. So the average for the whole session was 190, which isn't bad in itself actually. Well, let's stop pedaling now and see where we're at. Okay, see you at the computer in a sec. Oh, nice to get a bit of fan. I didn't actually put it up to the max fan in the end. I think because I was too concentrated on the ride. I didn't have time to put it up one, but yeah, it was not too warm today. So, and I did wear, for vanity reasons, a vest today. Normally I'd go bare-chested indoors on my own, but I thought it would be better to be half decent today. I'm just finding my wahoo and turn the fan off. Okay, so let's just save this ride. Here we go. What have we got? 20 minutes at 2:49, which is exactly what it said on the screen, wasn't it? My best ever is 3:11. I think that might have been running though, so I need to somehow work out if I can reset that somehow. That's certainly my best recently. 2:58, 5 minutes. I don't know whether that was in the initial 5 minutes or part 20 minutes. I think it might be the initial 5 minutes actually. At least I did this test properly, because I think if I'd have come into that 20 minutes with no fatigue, I could probably push a few more watts, but then it probably wouldn't have been a realistic FTP, would it? Let's just check the mass to see what I thought it said 237. So 249 times by 95%. 236. Yeah, I think it was 237, wasn't it? So let's give myself that and put that down. So here we go. Let's look at the distribution here. So you can see the warm up gradually getting up. There's a couple of little sprints, got the heart rate up. So what did it get up to? 106, is that all? Well, at least it got it up. It came right down again into
sort of 85, bizarrely low, isn't it? And then in this bit, in a way, that was kind of like the hardest bit, because you knew that wasn't the proper test. You knew it didn't count, and you were thinking, oh, I don't want to fatigue myself, but this is part of the test, so I've got to do it. So 3 minutes at 250, and then 2 minutes at 270. So yeah, I think that could have been the 258 average. And then you see there, kind of when it starts off, you feel like you've got fresh legs because you've had that all that section there in the middle where the heart rate is about 110. Still raised from that element there, but not too high. And then you can see that the heart rate was rising and rising and rising. Got to 1560, and when I really came that last minute, maybe I needed a bit of confidence to sort of push harder, because you see there, I really did drop down, didn't I? That sort of section there, in the last sort of like 8 minutes, say, between 8 minutes and about 2 minutes, and I started to sort of crank it up a bit towards there, and I think I got my average back up again. I was hoping to get the average back up to 250, but just missed it. But yeah, certainly pleased with that. And my best laid intention is to start off easy. I went basically hard, and then I did settle down though, didn't I? And then hit the rhythm when I was averaging just over 250. So I didn't feel like I lost too much, but you can see here in this middle section, then just slightly creeping down. I'll have a look at the averages on Strava. Average power there says 188, and average heart rate 129. 156, that's pretty high for me actually. I mean, my maximum is, I've got 162. So yeah, critical power. So 5 minute test here. Let's have a look. Yeah, 258. 10 minutes we got, what, 252. So okay, so if I average 249, then I was only hitting 252 on 10 minutes. So yeah, it was a fairly even effort, all things considered. 15-minute effort. Yeah, I mean, it was literally like 250, isn't it? Yeah, if actually 15-minute average, and my overall average was exactly identical, which is good to see. If I can hover this over the 15 minutes, I don't think I can. Anyway, the 20-minute one, yeah. Oh, they must be rounding up on this because it's got there. It got 250. So interesting to see what it says on Strava. Anyway, let's save this and go and look on Strava. Okay, so 28th of August 2024, I was doing this. This is the way they used to do it in Strava, but I kind of kept that up as tradition. And now it's just sort of afternoon ride, morning run, isn't it? Very hard work. 249 watts average for 20 minutes. So 237 watts new FTP. Did 5 minute block. Average 258 before 20 minutes, which deadens legs for sure. Zwift FTP Test Standard in Richmond. There we go. All right, save. See if I get a video of that as well. Now, what have all that's done to any of my rider score or suggested groups or anything like that? Let's have a look. My profile. So wait, 75.7 max. Yeah, there we go. New FTP of 237. There's my birthday, 22nd of November, 66. So I'm 57, coming on 58 in a few months' time. 195 is my height. It's about 6'5". And my racing score has actually gone up to 26704. So if I do a race, I'm going to have to work a lot harder next time for sure. And it was fun and very hard in the first place. Do I have a suggested group? If I look on the events, what's one with the... Here we go, sprint. What does it say suggested group here? Oh yeah, still in the C group. So let's check what my watts per kilogram is for myself now. So here we go. 237 divided by 75.7. Have I made it above 3.0? Oh yeah, 3.1. 3.13. So, okay. What's the borderline of a group? I think it's 4, isn't it? So I'm way off that, which is unfortunate because that would be blowing me out the water. B group. I must be on close to B group though, which is a bit worrying. I think that's 3.2. Let's have a look here. Yeah, 3.2. So I'm quite close to the tail end of B group. So at the moment I should be at the tasty end of C group, shouldn't I? I've never really done a race, mass race, where I felt I've never done any well. I've never done that many, to be fair, but maybe I'll give that a go. Let's see what it says on my watch. So here we go. I can hold this up to the camera. All right, so I want to save that. It's just did effort. But I don't think I was really doing any more than a 10 out of 10. I don't think I could have pushed any more there. So we'll say 10. And I thought, I don't feel too bad. Maybe, I suppose, all things considered, even though it said to take a rest day. So I'll say a 4. And say it was absolutely wonderful. See if it's given me a new FTP. Activity saved. It should do, shouldn't it? Here we go. 236. Well, that's a remarkably accurate, isn't it? Or consistent, should we say. 236 though on my Garmin compared to 237 on the Zwift one. Accept that new FTP. Let's try it on my 955. It should be exactly the same, shouldn't it? But it made it depend on where I was before. So let's save that one. Oh yeah, 236 as well. I suppose because I was doing an actual test, they probably should be able to work it out from the 20-minute one. So let's accept that as well. Put the light back on. I'll accept that. Get the right button here. Here are my Garmin stats on the watch. Is that in focus? Yeah, I hope so. A load error 173, that's certainly knowing about it. Cadence pretty low, isn't it? But I did have a few periods where I was sort of spinning along. Average power and max power really didn't mean a lot in the general scheme of things here. And I've got the DI2 thing as well, so you can see how many gear changes I did. And I got a kudos there on Strava from Stephen Cahill. Thanks very much. Training effect 3.9, impacting VO2 max. Well, you would hope so, wouldn't you, after that session? Maybe think it was a bit higher. And anaerobic only 0.1. So yeah, obviously not that last minute powerhouse didn't really make me a lot. Power, not quite sure what my zone's set to. There you see, there's my heart rate, a nice pretty graph of my heart rate. Hope you can see all this. I want to go now into my user profile and see if it's adjusted my FTP. So let's go user profile, heart rate and power zones, power, cycling. Oh, there we go. FTP 236, that's good. And on the glances on the front screen, so my running stuff has gone right to port. I've got a superior there, 5k of 21:47. I'm not sure I could actually do that because I'm not sure I could actually run a 5k flat out. I probably could if I really pushed. VO2 max on the running 55. Has it got a new? So I've only still a 50 VO2 max on the bike. I'm not quite sure why that's so low compared to the running. I mean, obviously I'm a better runner. You see here the FTP, it's 3.1. It's only in the green zone, which is kind of average, and it's to the sort of the left of the average, isn't it? So it's kind of suggesting that something like me should be a lot higher. But what's confusing is when you go to, obviously running VO2 max is, I mean, I have had it about 58, 59, so drop down to 55, but the cycling one, that's in the pink. Even though I kind of feel that's a bit low, and I almost feel like my FTP is not bad, why is the cycling VO2 max in the pink and my FTP in the green? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? You thought they should be more correlated. Is it suggesting I'm slacking and I should have done that a lot harder? So let's have a look on Strava. This is what I did it in 2016 on the Watt bike at Colette's gym in Thames Ditton. And bizarrely, I actually got an average here, which is almost identical, didn't it? I managed 249 today and I managed 248 8 years ago. So that's not pretty encouraging, isn't it? Considering, I mean, I'm 8 years older now. I'm a lot slower runner than I was in 2016. I mean, at the time in 2016, I was running a low 36 for 10k and could still run 17 minutes for 5k. And I think that season I did like a 430-ish, 1500, 430, sort of high 430s anyway. So yeah. So in that sense, I've lost a lot on the running, but I was on a Watt bike, so maybe that's just harder work. But anyway, I think the acid test here is that my test 8 years on is only like 1 watt difference, and it's to the right side of it as well. So yeah, I'll take that for sure. Comment there from Rachel Elliott, one of the best cyclists in the country. Let's have a look at today's ride on Strava. So it's interesting here. The source for Strava estimates are slightly different. They must have rounded up these ones. So I actually got an average here of 250, which obviously sounds slightly better than 249, but we'll take the 249 that I was given officially by Zwift, because that calculates my FTP at 237 now, doesn't it? And what I got at the 5 minutes, yeah, 258. So if we look at the analysis graph, and then let's have a look. We can sort of like select the area of interest here. So what's that? 445. Need to extend that slightly, and I got an average of 257. So let's see if I can just make that fine. Well, maybe I did get the 258 from the actual ride of the 20 minutes. So if I take the first 5 minutes from the actual FTP test. So let's go into time-based mode, have a look again in a bit more detail. So the first 5 minutes, basically, of the actual 20-minute test, more or less. It's hard to select this exactly. So that was 257. Oh, there's more than that. There we go. Oh yeah, perhaps it is the 258. I think it's pretty much identical actually. I think the 5 minutes sort of a hard warm-up averaged 257. So yeah, it did look like I started off the 5 minutes as almost exactly that I did on the actual proper test. And so if we select all of this, does that get the 250? Well, it does date 249, doesn't it? So it's hard to select this exactly. There we go. Strange. There must be some rounding going on here, I think. Anyways, I think 249 is the official one. I've got a comment here already. Good going, Tim. Getting your heart rate higher than when running. Yeah, indeed. I guess it's because you're indoors, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, even if you've got the fan on, you're not going anywhere. You're not getting the wind through your hair, as it were. And you're just sitting there and you're working really hard. And I think also in that test, it's so controlled because outdoors, running, you've got to concentrate where you're going. You've got to concentrate perhaps in a race situation on other people. Yeah, I think it's just always going to be easy. I mean, I find like, if you did a treadmill test, the same thing would happen. But certainly, I think there's also an element that I'm slightly unfit. And so, yeah, maybe the heart rate gets higher. Having said that, let's have a look at my fitness and freshness curve now. What I want to do now is take off the Garmin one because I've got that then uploaded twice. So I'll keep the Zwift one because you get the nice. Oh, it's interesting actually. On the 249 from the Garmin, it's slightly different averages. We'll take this. I always keep the Zwift one. So let's delete that one. But 249 would have been based on what the watch calculated, wouldn't it? So here we go. And then now let's look at the fitness and freshness graph. I'm always keen to look at this because I've had a bit of time off with my injury. And I sort of thought I better get on the bike, otherwise I'll be a complete dumpling. And let's have a look at my. So you see, that's when I sort of like started training again, basically. I've actually had. When did I stop running? End of June. Let's go into last 3 months. Yeah, so I stopped running literally the first day of June. I think I was already a bit injured by then, but I managed to do a run. And then I didn't really run at all for basically the whole of June. Or, I didn't really, I think I did a few impromptu little runs, not really anything much, didn't do any cycling. And I started to get back on the bike. And you can see here that by the bike sessions, my fitness score has gone up to 51, which, if we compare it to the 6-month view, I mean, it's lower than it was, but I'm now back to where it was on the 14th of June, which is like 2 weeks after stopping running. So if I carry on in this vein, I should hope to get back to at least the sort of the fitness score that I had when I stopped running. Obviously, I won't be any good for running, but at least I would have gained that fitness back. And I feel like my legs are quite strong from the biking. Well, having said that, when I last had some time off running and then got back to running, I thought I was going to be like fitter than I was. And you really do notice the fact that you didn't actually run. I think it's quite specific training, but I think that aerobic base is there. That's the important thing. And I'm using this cycling as a means to an end, not the end. So yeah, that's quite encouraging. But I mean, even in the last year, my fitness got to the all-time low there. And when was it ever as low? So it dipped then. When was that? Yeah, what did I do there? Well, I think I had an illness for that week, actually. Yeah, I think I came back from Portugal not feeling very well, so I had that all that week off. That wasn't an injury. And then I did have an injury here, I think. Hamstring, not good. Yeah, it looks like I had a time off with a hamstring injury. So yeah, it dipped right down there. So that's 2 dips there, one for illness, one for a hamstring injury. Another little dip there. Can't remember what that was actually. Oh, I think I had a bit of sore Achilles again. So maybe that was a warning of what was to come. But yeah, then it was holding steady. I think because I was doing more intermeter work, it started to drift down because you don't doing the high aerobic base. And this score is very much related to how much sort of like length of fitness you do. So it's only really a guide, but I'm sort of motivated to see this sort of shooting up. And although it's got a way to go to even reach the previous nadir, as it were, at least I'm not sort of sinking all the way down to naught, which you would get if you stopped training completely after a few months. So it's interesting, actually, isn't it? From June down to July. So on this measure, you kind of lost half your fitness within a month by doing basically nothing. But by doing some cycling and a little bit of running when I can, being careful, a bit of walking, then at least it's sort of maintaining it, isn't it? You know, I'm heading back to where a base level of fitness that I could build on when I get rid of this injury, touch wood. Anyway, so I hope you found this interesting. Like and subscribe with that, and see you next one then. Bye.